Good evening, good morning, or whatever time you're watching this video. It's the Brother Winston channel. Hit the like button if you can. Helps a lot when you walk through the door. Now, of course, when there's no door, there's internet door, there's a virtual door. You can do that if you want to. So now, King Kong Consciousness. We're on the Dr. Umar page. Now, for the past some months, I've been criticizing holding Dr. Umar's feet to the fire to see if he could actually be proven to not be a liar. He failed that test also, I want to say it. But anyway, so now we're going to hit. She claims she's not an African. Okay, this is a video which should be an easy layup for Umar. Okay, usually I've been showing videos saying, look, Dr. Umar's obviously a scammer. Okay, anyone should see that. Even Ray Charles could see that he's a scammer. All right, I think if he was alive, he'd actually say, yeah, brother's a scammer. Okay, but what we're gonna do, what we're doing right now is we want to click to this video because this should be an easy W for Umar. She claims she's not an African. All right, black woman wants to bleach her skin. I'm assuming wants to be white. That's a real thing. Dr. Umar, Mr. Super Pro Black, okay? Let's see what he says. This should be easy for him. Is he gonna fumble the ball? Let's go.
What's on your mind today?
Okay, so I've been on TikTok just browsing through a few lives and having a few arguments because I feel that black Americans are not being seen in a political stance. Like, we have skin folk in office, but they're not black Americans. But
she should have said kinfolk. Already right there, I'm starting to wonder about her blackness because she didn't make that obvious rhyme there. Let's continue.
They're speaking on our issues as if they are our voice and how that is wrong. And when I speak something about it, everybody's having a problem with it. Like, it's a major issue for us because we don't have the black experience.
My perspective, and I like to get your insight on my perspective. Because I'm a Pan-Africanist, I come from a different angle. So I see all African people as family, no matter where they come from, right? With that being said, yes.
So does that mean that there's snow bunnies? Seriously? Okay, because I look at everything he says. Break it down. Snow bunnies, white women, born in South Africa. Born in South Africa, mind you. Okay, they're actually African. All right. Elon Musk, is he black? He's from South Africa. I wonder what does he mean by is this a sideways way, of selling the white women from South Africa? Listen, I'm ready. Dr. Umar wants you because Dr. Umar, he loves to give that reverse speech. Let's continue.
One race. With that being said, I see nothing wrong with each branch of the family handling their own private business as long as it doesn't take away from the collective unity of the entire family. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a grandmom who had 10 kids, right? Each child has their own family. They got their own children. They got their own grandchildren. It is a time and a place for each child to be with their own children, handle their own issues in their own house, right? So what goes on in my brother's house is my brother's business. It is not my business. What goes on in my sister's house is my sister's business. It's not my business unless they come to me and ask me to get involved. But at the same time, they still my family. We not enemies. I don't have to disassociate from them. I don't have to demonize them. I don't have to weaponize my experience against them. We still one family. My issue with some American Africans, because I do not.
Well, that's interesting. If you're a family, then why wouldn't you care if something happened to them? That's like when blacks here in the USA say that when we were being brought over to this country as slaves, that the Africans that try to criticize us when they come over here, that their ancestors didn't actually help us at all, but they actually get a profit from us being sold here. Dr. Umar is taking the same stance, saying, listen, what happens to you guys, we're a family, but I don't really care, not have to intervene with what's going on. He's seemingly taking the exact same stance. I mean, am I twisting the truth here? I'm not. That's basically what he just said. That's exactly what he's just saying here. Which lets you know the caliber of the man that he is. And you may say, well, no, he's just trying to say that, to say essentially that he doesn't need to step in when when things are going on regarding different facets of the diaspora, or whatever, the word he loves to use, the diaspora. I'm sorry, Dr. Umar, I pronounced your word wrong. It's not, of course, not his word. It's a word he likes to use to make himself seem smart. But anyway, when we look at these things over the whole global spectrum of the black experience, mind you would say, Dr. Umar, don't you think that saying it that way is wrong? Dr. Umar would say, well, you gotta understand. Only in this context. Well, let's give him that out. We want him to get a W here. Let's see if it happens.
I use the word Black American at all. I am an African. I am an African in America, American African. That's me. So, for us who are the descendants.
Now, with that, I do agree with that. I do agree with that. Though people call me African American, I'm not going to tell them to stop. But I'm not pro-American myself. Never have been since I had basic knowledge, okay, of right and wrong. I'm not a pro-American. I'm pro-God, not pro-American. Okay, so let's continue.
Of the Africans who built this country, who have a unique history in America, a unique situation, I see no problem with us saying, hey, we got some issues that our African immigrant brothers and sisters cannot represent us on because they haven't walked in our shoes in this country these past 400 years, right?
Yes.
I don't have a problem with that. I do not have a problem with that. When you say that there are African immigrants in public office, okay, who are speaking for the American African, I don't have a problem with that if they're speaking for me appropriately. But in addition to that, we should also have American Africans who know the struggle speaking for us. So I agree with you.
It doesn't seem to be, they don't seem to be the ones that get in those positions.
Let me finish this point, and I'm coming right to you so you can speak.
Okay.
If you say, Dr. Umar, I need more American Africans represent me in a political theater, I'm with you, right? American, I'm with you. But I'm also going to tell you, don't demonize the African immigrants who are there. The problem is not that they're there. The problem is we don't have more American Africans speaking up. You see what I'm saying? In other words, I'm not going to demonize an immigrant African for winning.
Dr. Umar is going off the rails again. Try to give him an easy W here. Now you may say, how is he going off the rails, Brother Winston? What did he do wrong? I mean, think about it. He's talking about how people who are not African American, not born here in America, mind you, that they don't have descendants that are slaves, that were slaves for 400 years like I do, okay? Well, what's the problem? Well, the problem is this, and Dr. Umar has done this before, especially for, let's go back to, for example, the Charlie Kirk situation. Charlie Kirk being an obvious racist. Charlie Kirk, when he passed away, Dr. Umar immediately came out, as many super coons did, and him being one of the chief Uncle Toms himself. And I'm not saying this to make fun of him, I'm saying when you know what Uncle Tom is, that actually is what fits Dr. Umar. He goes leaps and bounds above that. And I'm not trying to make fun of him when I say this. I don't come online and take personal jabs at people either. I'm just telling you in all truth. Okay, based on the way he has done it for the past some years, that is actually who he is. Well, anyway, Dr. Umar immediately did what a true Uncle Tom would do. He said, black people don't complain against Charlie Kirk. Did he not? Almost immediately, he was in his car saying, don't complain. He said, I will not attack my enemy. Now, he knew good and well that most black people were saying his man was a racist and we're not going to celebrate him and we need to stop celebrating this man, which is what I said. Dr. Umar didn't bring that up. He immediately came to the defense of a racist and says something like, quote, I'm not going to celebrate. I believe it was something near this almost perfect quote. He said, I'm not going to celebrate the death of my enemy. No one was actually celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. If it was maybe one or two people. We weren't coming online saying, this dude lost his life, at all. But Dr. Umar spun it that way because, as I oftentimes say, he's really a government plan. Here he's saying, look, now you may say, well, how does that relate to what she just said? Because you notice he's immediately saying we should not hate them. She didn't say she hated them, but he's inferring that he's putting that on her. You understand what I'm saying? Because Dr. Umar has a mindset where, and this is really true what I'm about to say here, if you watch him for years, you would know this. He has a mindset where he has a very low view of black people. I'm telling you the truth. He has a very low view of African American people also. This is the reason why he has no problem scamming you. I'm telling you the truth from God. He has no problem scamming his own community. Mind you, he's from the United States. He's from Philadelphia, the same city I'm from. The same city I'm in right now. Maybe he's down the street. I don't know where he is, okay? I heard he returned to be with his mother or live with his mom. I don't know. But whatever, maybe he's right around the corner. I don't know. Might see him at the corner store. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Dr. Umar has no problem scamming his own people with scam after scam. And we know he has ran a lot of scams. Well, it's because of the mindset that he has. The mindset is, you guys are really nothing. That's why I'm coming to scam you. You think about an Asian person that comes to the United States of America, for example, that has a low view of black people. But they'll come, not all Asian people do this, mind you, but there are some that they come to the United States of America, and they don't go to the white area, but they go to the black neighborhood, okay? They already have a low view of black people. Many black people across the world are viewed in a low view, are viewed, in a low way and in a bad way by people all across the world, simply because of the media that demonizes us all the time, okay? By showing the worst of us, which is like 1%, instead of showing the best of us, which is the other 99%. They choose to not show that on TV, which is why even when there are movies with black people, rarely are they actually pitched around the world, because they know that people hate black people so much. Like the movie, for example, Black Panther, which wasn't even shown in China, I believe, because they said, even though it had nothing to do against China, but they didn't want it to be seen because they knew that people hated black people that much, they couldn't even air the movie there. Yet the movie still, that time when it came out, I believe was the number one movie in all of history for some time, until Avengers Endgame came out and overtook that spot, I believe, or Avengers Infinity War, whatever one it was, okay? Just being facts here. But if that person were to come to the United States, an Asian person with a evil view of black people, they'll come into the black neighborhood, set up a Chinese store, make fun of black people in their own Chinese language, while they're accepting black dollars every single day. And I've been in Chinese stores before, which is why I personally don't go to Chinese stores like that, okay? Nothing against Chinese people. I love Chinese people. I have Chinese friends. It's a true story. Not lying. But at the same time, I've been in many Chinese stores where they had no problem selling us dog. I remember I went to a Chinese store one time where I asked for a hamburger. And I believe without a doubt that they sold me a dog. It was a smell that I smelled coming out of there. And it made me sick to my stomach. And then I sad to say, I actually ate the hamburger, the dog burger, I should say. And then later on, true story, I turned the news on and I heard that store was busted for having dogs there. Okay, true story. Can't make this stuff up. Can't make it up. A person like Dr. Umar, out of his mouth is, oh, well, listen, black sister, listen this, listen that, but at the same time, he's scamming you for scam school, okay? And then whenever black people try to stand up, which is the most offensive in my opinion, when they try to stand up and say something's wrong, he immediately stands there and says, listen, I'm the voice of reason. We can't do that. You want to speak against Charlie Kirk being a racist? I'm the voice of reason. We can't do that. See what I mean? It's the exact same thing over and over again. The woman did the same thing against the people. She just said, literally, why are they representing us? Where's representation? He said, listen, we shouldn't be hating them, okay? Because it's his job to keep black people in line in a view, in a Jim Crow mindset, okay? To keep him working with a Jim Crow mindset against his own people. That's essentially why he has a position. That's the reason why Dr. Umar has not been arrested yet. When is the last time you heard of Dr. Umar being arrested for fraud when he's been committing fraud for over a decade? But if he was doing this same thing, people that say this online, okay, I'm not the first person to say this. If he was doing what he was doing against white people, Dr. Umar would have been in prison for at least 23 years. He would have a 23-year sentence right now. But because it's against black people, he's able to continue. Let's continue.
A political office, okay? As long as they're not working against me. Now, if they're working against me, I'm going to identify and I'm going to isolate them. You understand me? Even though I'm a Pan-Africanist, I expect every branch of the African family to support every other branch. So if one of my Nigerian African brothers come to America and starts acting like a coon, I'm going to publicly identify and I'm going to isolate. If I catch you, my sister, demonizing and disrespecting immigrant Africans, I'm going to identify you and isolate you as a coon. So the rules do not differ for me. Respect everybody.
No, they do differ. They differ tremendously. You said that you didn't care about the family or what the other family is doing, though we're all still family. But then you said when it comes to Pan-Africanism, the Pan-African family, now you're paying attention. So the rules absolutely differ. Especially since most black people are not Pan-African. But let's continue.
It's right to represent themselves. That's what you're saying. I want American Africans to represent American Africans. I agree with you. I have no issue with that. But then if you turn around and say that immigrants are my enemies, that's where I have to draw the line with you, because the immigrant Africans are not my enemies. They are only 3% of all black people in this country. They are the lowest immigrant pool, one of the lowest immigrant pools in this country. Most of what we built is not being taken by African immigrants. It's being taken by Latinos, feminists, LGBTQs, and ethnic white minority groups.
Mind you, he just went on I'm not making this up, he just went on a Latino podcast called the Danza Project, I believe, to make fun of and damn his own people. This is a true story. I'm not making none of this up. Go online if you don't believe me. I even made a video. I think I made a commentary video on it. And he's talking about Hispanics, but he went on a Hispanic podcast to attack his own people. Okay, let's continue. Also, I want to say this. You may say, well, Dr. Umar is not attacking her, saying she did something wrong. He's just saying he doesn't agree with the fact that we should have come against immigrants. But the only problem is this. She didn't say that. So why are you inferring that, Dr. Umar? Why are you inferring this type of essentially evil mindset against the innocent based on what you're setting it up? Why are you inferring that? Why are you creating that as something that needs to be in front of her? Why not get to what she was saying and then handle what she's saying and then keep it moving?
We never talk about. So my thing is, let's not unfairly dump on the African immigrant population when you got all these other immigrant groups who have stolen and siphoned off of black people, and we say nothing at all. I ain't heard nobody talk about how the LGBT have siphoned off of the black.
And also what he's saying here is false. It's false. He's a man who has many, many lies coming out of his mouth at almost all times, sad to say. He says he's heard no one ever says anything about other communities doing things to us. That's not true. That's simply not true. Before Dr. Umar was even born, people have been saying things about why these other communities are allowed to do the X, Y, and Z. Why even Jamaicans, for example, others are able to get different loans that we cannot get. Okay, how Jim Crow even exists, especially in the business sector, in the entrepreneurial sector. Okay, people have been saying things for years, but he creates a false reality that he wants us to believe. The reality is this: black people are stupid. Number one, we're lower educated. Number two, we're always operating in a place of being below every other race, and that we can never be saved.
Struggle. I don't hear nobody talking about how anti-black Latinos, not the African Latinos who identify with us, but the anti-African Latinos, nobody talks about how they have siphoned off of the black movement as well. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are with all people who have immigrated here and are not for the benefit of black Americans who are here. I'm not narrowing it down just to Africans. I'm just, to me, I haven't seen where it has benefited the black community personally. Okay,
I got you. And I
lived here for over 40 years, so that's my observation.
There's one more thing I want to give to you, though. I want to make sure that the American African family, which I am a part, we need to make sure, my queen,
also my queens, I'm talking like Dr. Umar now. Stop calling Dr. Umar for advice, please. Please stop calling this man for advice. When I watch this video, I look at her and I say, this woman is over 40, and she looks pretty good for her age, I must say that. But then I think to myself at the same time, knowledge-wise, you've been on earth for over 40 years, but you look at Dr. Umar as a voice of reason. You look at Dr. Umar as someone who you should be calling for knowledge. That does not make any sense. That does not make any sense, my brothers and my sisters across the whole African diaspora, as Dr. Umar would say.
We are not always operating from victim consciousness or deficit perspective. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. I think sometimes we can operate from victim consciousness in deficit perspective too much. I want to give you an example.
This is what he always does. Dr. Umar always puts black people, once again, like I just said, in a low place. We're always operating in a victim. So now, mind you, once again, mind you, always say on this channel, Dr. Umar is a government plan. What is he preaching now? The same thing that Charlie Kirk, his friend, preached. That, remember, if you know about Charlie Kirk, he used to all the time say to black people, face to face with them, he would say, institutional racism is a myth. He even has a video on YouTube called Institutional Racism is a Myth. Dr. Umar here is actually preaching that, but in another way. In another way, because this is why I call him a government plan. If you look at what he says, it's like another side of a coin. Okay? He's like a racist KKK member with blackface on. Seriously, I'm not trying to make fun of him. But he's wearing blackface. He's sending to black people to say, this is what you're doing. Even when a woman sat here and said, Dr. Umar, I'm not saying X, Y, Z. He says, okay, so I can't GM you up there. Well, I'll create another scenario where black people are bad and downtrodden and acting like fools and niggas. Now he's going to bring up another situation. Why not say something positive? You understand? Showing how we are excelling. But you don't see that a lot from him. I wonder why.
We are a $2 trillion economy, right? We spend $2 billion on Air Jordans a year. We spend $4 billion on liquor a year. Black women.
You ever hear Dr. Umar give us the stats on how much money we spend to build and do all these other things that are prosperous and good for our communities? Somebody may say, well, no, because black niggas aren't doing anything. You guys aren't doing anything, and that's simply not true. But it's just he's doing the same thing the news does when they show the black men that are robbing a liquor store, but they do not show the black men that are supporting their communities. The black men that are taking care of their families. The black men that I see, they're taking care of their children when the mother is not around. They don't tell you about that. The black women are taking care of the children when the man isn't around. Okay, all the things that black people are doing to build up our own communities. The black people that have got places who have gotten high office. The black people who have invented all kind of things. The people used to this very day, and even now still inventing things. Dr. Umar has no reason to talk about them. Even though he travels the world and sees all kind of people, he has a reason to mention him. I wonder why that is.
Spend nearly $30 billion, mostly black women, black men in there too, but mostly black women, $30 billion on the beauty industry. From the products to the services to the shampoo, the oil, the lotion, the shea butter, blah, 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 blah.
Now, what's wrong with that? Black people are spending all this kind of money on beauty things, okay? What's wrong with that? Black women looking good. What's wrong with that? This, I'm just asking. Black women are some of the most beautiful women. You could even say the most beautiful women on the face of the earth. Also, of course, they're going to spend money on beauty. What's wrong with that, Dr. Umar? Of course, he's going to say, well, you're spending all your money on this stuff, but you're not spending money on things that really matter. But many of them are. Do you know that every single week, even today as I'm making this video, there's a meeting I could go to where there are black entrepreneurs here in Philadelphia that meet up every other week. And I see different entrepreneurs every other week. From young, old, and they're all black. They don't have to all be black. Last time, I think there was a guy there was white who was speaking. But rarely do you see that. And it's in Philadelphia. Does Dr. Umar know about that meeting? No, I guarantee you he wouldn't even attend unless he was coming to call us niggas. Then he probably would attend.
Let me ask you a question. If we were in a position of power in this country, power, let's say we owned some black Wall Streets. Let's say we owned our own beauty supply. Let's say we had our
We used to.
Stay with me. You're
No, we still own our own beauty supply, Dr. Umar. What are you talking about?
right. And we still got a few small ones. Let's say we had our own hospitals. Let's say we had our own neighborhoods. Let's say we could put our own children to work. Let's say we had our own magazines.
So we don't have our own neighborhoods and we're not able to put our own children to work? Do you know me as a black man that is not rich? I put people to work of other races, Dr. Umar. I myself, with the little money that I've been blessed with from God, have put people to work who are black and other races, Dr. Umar. Okay, so what do you mean? And if I can do that, and I'm not rich, I don't have I've not made the money that Dr. Umar has made, balling and all that kind of stuff off of the black man's dime and black woman's single mother's dime. What is he now saying that we aren't able to do that? I don't understand what he's talking about here because it's not true.
Factory. We have our own security. We have our own distribution. We are electing our own officials who we finance and control, right? Mm-hmm. Let's assume that was the reality for a minute. Do you think African immigrants would be acting differently towards us if we were in a position of power?
My stance is
So they're mad at us because we are failing. It's all our fault. That's the end of the video, guys. It's all our fault. Let's just go home and go to sleep. You're probably already at home and about to go to sleep, but you watched my video and now you're woken up because Dr. Umar is so crazy with the stuff he's doing here. Okay? But at the end of the day, we sit here and we say, Dr. Umar, is it really all of our fault? Is our fault that immigrants come here to take advantage of communities that we and our fathers built? No lie, all true. Because our fathers built it and they didn't. It's our fault that they can get a loan that we could not get. It's our fault. It's our fault that they can tell us you don't have enough established credit or you have bad credit, but they can come over here with no credit from another country and easily get a loan to open up a store. They can come over and people can come from South America illegally. I've seen it. and have money pouring in and have all kinds of things open up for them. But it's just black niggas complaining. It's always us just complaining. We can do the same thing, but when we have tried, many times there are doors that have closed in front of us. And it's been like that in the USA for many years. What about when the black, let's go back to history so we can learn some more today. Maybe someone watching doesn't know these things. Dr. Umar doesn't care to educate you except for on things that are negative and bad about his own people. Let's still go back to when the black people were trying to go up north. Maybe you guys know what I'm about to talk about. They're trying to go up north when slavery had ended. And as they realized that slavery was over, okay, they decided to get on some trains and say, let's go to Philadelphia. Let's go to the northern states. Okay? But as they decided to do that, they realized that the trains decided to not take them there. The trains decided to stop and offload them. This is what really happened. And said, you can't go up there. He said, we just want to get out of you guys here so we can live a life and work and like we were doing for years, to actually make some money, take care of our families. And they said, no, we're not going to allow that. Doors were closed in front of you, and black people were chased around. Okay, many of them were killed. Many of them were taken off these trains by force, and all kinds of things happened right after slavery. This is what people don't tell you on TV. This is what Dr. Umar doesn't tell you. Now, someone will say, oh, well, that was back then. Now things have changed. Opportunities are all the same. Racism only exists in your mind. Stop thinking about these things. They only exist in your mind. But the reality is this. As the fathers, sad to say many times, as the children. As the mothers, as the daughters. As the fathers, as the sons. When it comes to the offspring of the wicked. And we look at many people today who are in power, who are greedy, whose God is mammon, as the Bible says, in greed. A person that has the God of greed and mammon as their true God, they will run over whoever is in their way to get there. And because the United States of America has a caste system, a class system, just like many other nations, black people are put at the bottom of that system. Therefore, when the people, and it's not just for the USA, it's for any nation, therefore, just like the Indian nations, where they have a caste system where people that are dark skinned, okay, you never hear anyone ever say, when Indians who are dark skinned say, we were kept down because of the caste system, because darker Indians are at the lower rung of the caste system. You never hear anyone ever say, stop complaining. They need to stop complaining about that. You never hear people in the U.S. side ever say that. But when black, and that's fine, because it's true. What they're saying is true. But when black people in the United States of America say that, we're always looked at as just a bunch of stupid, non-working people. I mean, you think about it. Even at the beginning of Reconstruction, how many movies were put out like Birth of a Nation? Movies where black people were portrayed as just porch monkeys. You think about all the movies from Step and Fetch and all different TV shows and cinema where they were showing black people as just wanting to sit on the porch, eat watermelon, and do nothing. Yeah, black people have been used again and again and again to make rich people prosper, and then they've been thrown to the side. I was just watching a documentary on UPN, which I believe actually stood for the United Paramount Network, something I never knew. I thought UPN actually stood for UPN. I never knew it actually stood for something. Okay? And I guess Paramount was what the P stood for. I never realized that, I never realized that, number one, but also I didn't realize back then that UPN had a lot of black shows, okay? And a lot of them weren't that great. But what they did was they used these shows to push this network. And when they got what they wanted, they got rid of those shows. It's a fact. They got rid of those shows. They transitioned to something else. They got rid of those shows. The same thing is now with Tubi. If you know Tubi, a lot of black independent filmmakers or people who made TV shows have put content on Tubi. And it's really because of black people and African Americans that Tubi has got to where it's gotten to today. That's a fact. Okay? But did you know that just recently they changed the rules of Tubi so that you would have to have the criteria to put a movie up on Tubi has changed to an extreme degree, so that most of the people that have put stuff on Tubi and gotten stuff on Tubi weren't able to get on there anymore. Again, we see black people being used to build up a structure for the highest class, and then what happens? Well, they're thrown to the side. That's exactly what happened in our time in 2025 with Tubi. It happened to black people. Once again. But Dr. Umar says, look, black people, shut up, stop complaining. This is the same Dr. Umar has said, and I say it often in my videos, that I believe 10% of black boys need to be KILL, you know the rest, okay? Because they simply just cannot exist. Has Dr. Umar ever said this about white people? No. Would he ever say this about white people or their children? No. But he says about his own people. I wonder why.
Not only is not
No.
directed
Stay
at
with my
him.
question. No, stay with my question. If we were operating from a position of power, Africans who come to America from the Caribbean, from the UK, from Canada, from the continent, from South America to Central America, from the South Pacific, from Australia. If we were in a position of power in America, like the Chinese are, like the Jews are, like the Arabs are, like the East Indians are, like the Anglo-Saxons are, if we were in a position of power, my queen, hypothetical question, if we were in a position of power, do you think African immigrants from around the world would treat us differently? Yes or no?
I would say yes, because when they get here, they stay to themselves. They don't really like try to come together and be with us. They separate themselves.
I want you to finish that, but okay, they would treat us differently. So let me ask you a question.
They do it now.
Let me ask you a question. If you were an African, let's say you went to Australia or you went to London.
So you see, he asked her a question which she should have said no. Okay, she should have said no to that. He said, if they came here and we were in positions of power, which we actually are, would they treat us differently? Basically, he said, if we had done something, because we all collectively have done nothing except for him, would they treat us differently? Okay? And because it's our fault. So she should have said no to that, but instead, she said yes to acquiesce to Dr. Umar, so this live can continue, and she, of course, knowing that, how he is. But that's not enough for Dr. Umar for her to say yes. He wants to really pin her to the wall. Even though he says snow bunnies never, African queens forever, and however he says it, okay? But you see right here of an African queen in front of him who's over 40 years old, looks very, very good for her age. Still, Dr. Umar, it doesn't impress him.
Or you went to Canada from the United States. You are an American African immigrant into another country. And you saw when you got there, the black people there had no power, control no industries, senselessly waste their wealth with the same white people who they want reparations from. Do you think you would be eager to become a part of them? Yes or no?
Yeah, because I'm going to be with my people. That's just who I am.
Okay, so you saying you're going to ride out with...
Let's give her a hand. Let's give her a hand for that. She's standing up to Dr. Umar. Let's continue.
I'm going to be with my people.
That's how
I try to change how they think.
Do you think most American Africans would do that?
The ones I'm around, I can't speak for everybody else.
I don't think you're being honest when you say that. I don't think no group of any people, not just blacks, I don't see no group of any race going to a completely different continent.
So she said, yes, I will still side with them. Dr. Umar, hearing the way she said that, always knowing to get on the right side, he then said, oh, that's what I would do too. Because there was no way for him to say opposite of what she said and look good. So of course he's going to say, oh, that's what I would do. But he still wants to come against black folks. So then he says, oh, but I'm going to say, understand, I'm the 1 percentile. He didn't say the 1 percentile, but he did because he said, I would do that. And then he says, but the majority want it. So he's put himself in the 1 percentile. Understand it for sure.
Seeing their people there in a servitude, unempowered position, and being a rush to identify and help them. Nobody does that. Generally, nobody does that. The reason I'm bringing this up, Queen, is, in my opinion, and we can agree to disagree, but in my opinion, our issue is not how the African immigrants treat us. Our issue is how we treat ourselves. And our issue is we have allowed ourselves to remain at the bottom when we clearly have the ability.
See, what you're saying right there is wrong. Because that's the mindset they have, that all black Americans don't have anything. That's the wrong
Oh, this is getting better than I thought it would. Let's hit play here.
mindset.
Listen to me. If we are trying to empower ourselves as American Africans, if we are trying to empower...
Don't identify as that.
Let me finish. Well, right. I'm American African.
And make sure you guys hit the like button also, please. I'm doing a lot of work here. It's my off day doing this video. Make sure you guys please hit the like button. And please share this video. Subscribe if you like the content. We talk about God, scammers to expose them, and expose evil on this channel, and also give informative videos when necessary. Okay? Let's get back to the video.
Don't have anything. That's the wrong mindset.
Listen to me. If we are trying to empower ourselves as American Africans, if we are trying to empower...
Don't identify as that.
Let me finish. Well, right. I'm American African. I'm not a black American. So,
Okay.
yes, we definitely going to disagree on that. So, if we are trying to empower ourselves...
So now you understand where Dr. Umar stands. If you're his fan, you understand where he stands. He doesn't even want to stand with black Americans, which is actually against what he just lied about. He just said I would stand, I'm the 1 percentile. Did he not say I'm the 1 percentile that would stand with the downtrodden group? Yes. But you notice he's saying I'm not an African American. You can't make this stuff up. I don't even try to break Dr. Umar down in these videos. I just let him talk and listen to what he says. Let's continue.
I'm not worried about the immigrant African because I'm too busy empowering myself. See, I'm worried about the immigrant African because I think he's going to get some of my crumbs that the master throws off his table onto the floor. Crumbs. Because
No, it's not about that.
Of course, because the black man is on the floor like a dog. That's why. Right, Dr. Umar? He's already on the floor like a dog. He's not standing up with the white folks or the Hispanic folks or anyone else. There's no black millionaires or even billionaires. There's no black people that invent anything. The white people invented everything for us. We didn't invent anything. We don't contribute to society at all based on the society, the mindset that he has. And I want to say is also Dr. Umar is not one out of one. I've met many people that think just like Dr. Umar. I remember I even dated a woman years ago who thought like Dr. Umar. And you know what? I broke up with her soon after that, but I realized how she was thinking. People that think this way, you should be 1,000 miles away from them. They will lead you down always. I don't care how good they look. This woman I was dating, she looked attractive. Really, she really looked good. But that mindset, I could not deal with that. So I'm not going to have that in my vicinity. Okay, it's a true story, and I mean, none of this up. Dr. Umar, some women may think he looks attractive. I don't know how he looks to women, but I will say this, and he has a lot of flair. He has a great speaking voice. But one thing he does not have is a love for God or for his own people at all. Here he's trying to talk her in circles, but I'm stopping her within this. I'm stopping him, within the circles, and she's stopping him within his circles, which is his revolving lies. He says, like I just showed you, he said, look, I'm the 1 percentile that will stand with the downtrodden people. Then he says, I'm not an African American. I don't stand with these niggas. Which one is it, Dr. Umar?
Okay, so then what is your issue then?
First of all, I said I'm not narrowing it down to just them. I said that at least 5
But
times.
you started out with them. Your initial
I
comments.
started out
You
with
didn't
I
mention
don't
nobody
see the
else.
representation of us
Okay.
in office.
But your
That's what I
initial
started off
comments,
with.
you mentioned African immigrants. You didn't mention anybody else. You were specific to black
I
immigrants.
said immigration is bad. It does not help black Americans, period. Black African immigrants are not the only immigrants that are
I
here,
understand
correct?
that, but that's not what you said in the beginning.
Okay.
But go ahead. That's not what you said in the
So
beginning.
I'm not narrowing it down or picking on any particular group of people.
But wait, time out. Let me clarify something, if I can.
Mm-hmm.
I said I identify as American African.
Mm-hmm.
You said you identify as black American, and I respect
Yes.
your right to identify.
Yes.
Oh, stay with me. You do not identify as an African, correct?
No.
Well, then that's the problem then. Stay with me then. You don't see them as your family anyway. So it
They
don't even
tell
matter.
you,
Do
you're
you
older
see the
than
difference
me.
there? Do
You're
you see
older
the
than me,
difference
so
there?
you used to hear them say,
You're black.
You're not
an
African.
African. You're black. So when you see an African immigrant, in your mind, you have no associated with them at all. Ancestrally, culturally, historically, nothing. So it's
they
almost
told
as
me
if-
that.
So I'm not talking about what they told you. I'm talking about you. Stop passing the buck. We're talking about you. So then, if you do not see them as family on any level, then I see why you are adversarial towards them, because to you, they're no different than any other group.
Now, notice again, he's now lying again because, or I should say he's inserting again. Remember in the beginning when I said he's inserting, that she's saying something negative, that she's inserting this and inserting that? And he goes back to, listen to this.
So then, if you do not see them as family on any level, then
First, he's saying you don't see them as family on any level. Mind you, Dr. Umar himself just said in the beginning and near this point that he doesn't consider himself an African American. But when he says that, he's also saying, especially with the context of what he's discussing here, that he does not see himself as being compatriots and fellow citizens of black people in the United States of America. And he can do that, that's fine. But then, I mean, it's not fine, but I'm saying he can do that, okay? But then, he's going to sit there and say, look, baby, you're saying that you believe you're an African American and not, and he has a very devious and demonic thinking also, I have to say that, for him to even think to try to corner on this. Because a person like Dr. Umar, he has to always be seen as being correct and on top of things. And this lady is calling him a serious problem in the fact that she at least once caused him to change what he was going to say. Okay? So Dr. Umar, but he has to get the edge on her. So now he has to hit her with, oh, well, at the end of the day, you don't see Africans as being African American, do you? Of course, no one would say, yes, Africans that come, a person that comes from Africa, from Nigeria, wherever, they're the same as an African American. No one's going to say that. Of course, she doesn't see them as exactly the same when it comes to where we're coming from. So he then says, okay, well, that explains why you have such a hate for them. Inserting that hate. She didn't say that. But what do you mean? So why is he doing it? The reason is because he has to demonize her. Okay, he has to put her under his feet. That's why I say he has a very evil type of mindset, and is actually a real demonic type of mindset for him to even think that way. Because she was just explaining, and he said, hold up, sister, let me stop. Okay, and I see many people like this, especially doing ministry in the streets of Philadelphia and talking to people one-on-one. I've seen many people like this where if you're riding straight, if you're talking to them and telling them the truth, they have a mindset where they have to be on top. So they'll try to, like he said, let me insert this here, if I may. She should have said, no, you can't. And then from there, they try to spin it to make you be the bad guy, okay? Because he has to be seen as the good guy, no matter what happens. If you watch him, look at what he's saying. Look at how he's explaining. Look at how I'm explaining this, and go back if you need to. I'm not making none of this stuff up. Look at the mindset that he has. This is the same man that has over 1 million followers on Instagram, okay? Famous people follow Dr. Umar. Okay, let's look at the comments here to see if people are kissing his behind even in the comments. Do I think the tide has changed? Emotions against logic doesn't always end well. This seems to be pro Umar here. See what I'm saying? And I can say that because people always say that women are just emotional. So therefore, I can already see it. This is against her. Let's see what the reply is. Yes, she was very logical. Okay. And someone says agreed. Maybe they're trying to come against that person, but it seems like the person right here is trying to come against her by saying emotions against logic. And these people are trying to come against what he's saying here. Or he or she, whoever it is. Dr. Umar, stay cooking. Unfortunately, most of us are just not intelligent enough to understand what he is trying to explain, this person is saying. The Panthers said everything is political. And so-called FBAs are just too emotional and not logical enough. So she's just emotional, while Dr. Umar is logical. And even when Dr. Umar is showing himself to be a fool and a liar, he has to slow her down. Say, oh, can I say this? To make her appear emotional. Why? Because he's speaking over her now. And then when she wants to talk, because he's basically cut in front of her, now she's seen to be emotional. Look at one more comment here. So I'm not making this up. You can see people, even in the comments, are still kissing Dr. Umar's behind and believing a con man. I don't feel sorry for them at all. Neither should you. Umar, that's your right if you choose to be an African. All black Americans are not choosing that. Let's look at the next comment. Well, let's scroll down a little bit. The delineation is inevitable. Umar can't stop it. Never met an African in America. From America, who demonstrated we were part of the same extended family. Good point. They make it known they're separate and we are. I'm American. Ancestors were enslaved and probably captured by the African ancestors who made their way over here. I'm good. Let's continue.
I see why you are adversarial towards them, because to you, they're no different than any other group. And if they're no different than any other group, why are you not also holding the other groups as accountable as you're holding the black?
I speak
You did
against
not.
the
Exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this is what she said in the beginning. What are you talking about? Her whole issue is holding him accountable. What are you talking about, that Umar? But he's changing narrative line. But when she says I am, who looks emotional? She does. He's sitting there, laid back, with his hand rubbing a headband with a star on it. She's looking at him like I am. Also, women, if you call her, no, don't call that Umar. Don't go on his lie. But if you do, call him a liar, please. Please call him a liar and manipulator. Just do it, okay? Just do it. Do it for me, please. Go on his lives and act like you really want to talk, and then call him a liar and manipulator. And do it just so calmly. And explain like I am what he's doing. Let's continue.
Your opening statement was about black immigrants. Can we be honest about that?
But you didn't let me finish. You took on my question, but you didn't let me.
Yes, it was about them. But she didn't say she hated them. And then this is the ironic part, or the crazy part. He says, you don't hold them to task. But then he just says your opening statement was about them. She was trying to hold them to task. What are you talking about? A person that is deceived by Dr. Umar, and I don't want to make fun of people at all, I have to say this. You know, I'm not even going to say it. You probably know what I'm going to say. I'm not even going to say it. Let's continue.
Finish the whole entire thing.
Okay, Michael. Yes, Michael.
Okay. So my stance is against anybody that comes here and tries to undermine what black Americans have already done. I'm against. It don't matter if you Haitian, Asian, Indian. If you undermine what my people have fought for, bled for, been beat for, jailed for, hung for trees for, I'm against you. It doesn't matter if you're black or Asian. I'm against it.
Now, let's say that I was an alien from another planet, okay? I'm watching this interview. I see Dr. Umar. I say, okay, his name is Dr. Umar, so he's someone who's supposed to be helpful to her. Let's see how he tries to help her. After watching this interview up to 13 minutes in, I would realize, you know what, I don't think that he really wants to help her. Even now, he's trying to go tit for tat, saying, yo, you said this, you said that. Doesn't seem like he really is trying to help her. So what is he trying to do? Help himself. By using her as a launching pad to make himself look good. And that is exactly what he does. That's exactly what he's been doing for years. Using black people, demonizing them, making us look stupid so he can make himself seem to be the 1 percentile that is perfect and majestic, while everyone else is just stupid and dumb and uneducated. And that's how he's been making his living for years. 4 years. For sure. Thanks for watching. It's your boy, Brother Winston, back at it again.